Hey everyone. So Eric W. Schwartz recently released the 53rd page of the Sabrina online story Stripes and Links. And this one is a continuation of still being with Sabrina's family and all that. And I have to say that this is kind of interesting in its own right, because basically here Endora kind of explains why she started hanging out with Zig Zag. Basically, she states that, on her part, it was weakness. And Sabrina, of course, is wondering, like, okay, I know you're having a hard time struggling with this morality kind of thing, but, what's going on? She wants to know why her mom, it's kind of like, at that edge of basically like, maybe she might be, bi, if you will, or not. But basically, long story short, she let Sabrina know that, basically the reason she hooked up with Zig Zag as a friend, it's because of Sabrina getting married. Long story short, she basically felt like Sabrina was leaving her, basically. She felt like Sabrina was leaving her and that she was going to be alone. And Sabrina has to ensure her that, well, you still have us, you still have your family. And Endora's like, well, it's not the same. I mean, this is basically how it is, this is how, excuse me. This is basically what she's talking about, and I think my mouse just died on me. Hold on. Sorry about that. My mouse just died. I have to recharge it. But anyway, this is how it goes. Basically, Sabrina's like, honestly, though, because this is continuing off from page 52, she's like, honestly, though, if you were as concerned with this hardline morality as you claim, I don't think you would have formed a friendship with Zig Zag in the first place. And then Endora's like, that was weakness on my part. She says, now here's how she says, that was, and then she pauses for a moment, then says, weakness on my part. And Sabrina's curious, like, weakness? And then Endora tells her that, well, Sabrina, you had just gotten married and was starting a family of your own. At the time, I felt like you were leaving me behind and I would be alone. Then she was there. And of course, Sabrina acknowledges Zig Zag by saying Zig Zag. And then Endora's answer is, yes, I don't really have any friends left in my life anymore. I'm getting older, and the friends of my youth have all moved away, or moved far away, or passed on, and no one's left. And then Sabrina has to reassure her with the father and Tabitha in the back by telling her, you still have us. And Endora's like, that's not the same. And Endora's like, because Sabrina, again, she's trying to reassure her, you still have us, basically saying you still have me, Tabitha, and Dad. And Endora's like, that's not the same thing. And then she tells them, and Endora tells them, I love you all, but family is completely different than friendship. And sometimes we aren't all that friendly to each other. Which is her way of saying that, family is different from friendship, and even being family, they're not too friendly. Like, they don't get along all the time because of disagreements and stuff. And Sabrina agrees. She's like, true. And then Endora says, occasionally it's nice to spend time with someone you don't share your whole life with, And Sabrina's like, I get it. I'm not quite living it, but I get it. So basically what she's indicating here, Endora, in response is the reason she became friends with Zig Zag is because Zig Zag was there for her when Sabrina got married, after Sabrina got married. Because obviously Zig Zag, she's been presented as someone that with a heart of gold, although she has her quirks, if you know what I mean. The quirks that she's trying to find answers to as we speak in the very same story. But, Zig Zag was there for her because she noticed Endora needed someone to talk to, needed someone to comfort her. And that's why Endora accepted, that hand of friendship, if you will, accepted her invitation to spend time with her. And honestly, you can't blame Endora for feeling that way, because there's a lot of families. There's a lot of families that feel that way. A lot of families that, parents mostly. I'm no family psychologist, thank God. But, I could tell that when certain things happen, it affects family. It affects, parents, mothers, fathers, mostly when a change in their child's life occurs. I know that when my oldest nephew went into the Navy, it affected my middle sister. It affected her and her husband, at the fact that he was going to be traveling the world. And they weren't sure what was going to happen. When basically, when my grandparents passed away, over a decade apart, basically 13 years apart, it affected everybody. It's a change. And you don't know how to, know how to deal with it until maybe someone comes around and comforts you. And that's kind of what Zig Zag did. Zig Zag basically came to Endora's aid, noticing that Endora probably felt like she was going to be forgotten, because now her oldest is going to go off and do her own thing with her own family. And her second child is growing up wanting her own life. And her husband, he's there, but it's not like, it's not like intimately like it used to be. And she can't have conversations with him like she could have with another woman, another female. And thus, Zig Zag was there for her. And I think when we look at it from Zig Zag's point of view, Zig Zag understands Endora probably better than Endora wants to admit. Because she gets the fact that she was on her own for a while. She didn't have many friends, sans, Tina Links and then a few others she met along the way. So she gets her. She understands her. And everything. And that's why they gravitated towards each other so easily. Why they were able to mold and meld with each other easily and get along. It's just, for Endora, she didn't expect, Zig Zag to do what she did. But because she did it, she's starting to wonder, maybe, potentially, perhaps that this might have been maybe the next step that was necessary. Like, it's still like she was still shocked and surprised by it. She couldn't believe Zig Zag did it. But then her admitting, earlier on, a few weeks ago, in like page 51 and 52 and all that, that she didn't hate it and everything. Basically that, for her to admit she didn't hate it and, just come out and say that she kind of maybe liked it or didn't mind it, it's probably her way of, because she even says she's processing this whole situation like, I don't know what's going on. I was shocked and everything when she did it, but when she kissed me, but when I think about it, I didn't really hate it. I didn't mind it. So now she's processing, whether or not, based on what we're seeing here, she's processing whether or not potentially maybe that kiss basically she got from, Zig Zag could be a sign of that's the next step in the friendship, in the bondness. But she's still processing it. It's like, she's asking herself, is this that next step? Is me and Zig Zag going to become more than just, friends that hang out? Is it, are we becoming more? Is there something more there? She's processing it. Because again, to her, Zig Zag, was there for her as a friend, as someone she can confide in and talk things with, or talk things over with. And like she said, it's not the same with family. Family's completely different. Yeah, you could talk things over with family, but the thing is, you can't talk about certain things that, you want to talk about with family, but you can only talk about with other people. And it is true. She said basically, that as family, they're not friendly with each other as much either. Because basically, like any family, you're going to have your disagreements. You're going to have your disagreements. You're going to have, your arguments to see who's right, who's wrong, where you're going to have something, where you're not going to have something, stuff like that. So she is right. I mean, my family is probably the best. My family, in my opinion, is probably the best example of that. We don't always get along and everything. We don't always see eye to eye, and that's a fact. That's a fact. I mean, I have family that doesn't want to travel too far because, they're getting up in age. And if they have to, it's only because maybe they got appointments to go to and stuff like that, but they're getting up in age. That's the whole thing. Even despite other family members saying, hey, you go this far to your job, why can't you go this far just to visit? So yeah, families don't always get along because we're going to, have our disagreements. We're not always friendly with each other because we're going to have disagreements. And Endora is right in that perspective when it comes to her family in the story, which is why when she started hanging out with Zig Zag, because Zig Zag was there for her, it basically became a realization for her that she could, confide, in Zig Zag about things that she can't confide in or talk about with her family. She can go out and let loose and have a little fun, maybe get a buzz on here and there with a few drinks, and that's cool. That's cool. The only thing that's going through her mind right now is the fact of what Zig Zag did. Which is why Zig Zag is on this journey with Tina right now to find out exactly why she acts the way she does, why she did what she did, and why she at times, has done it before, without consent. She wants these answers, and we're going to be getting them soon. I mean, to know we're getting somewhat, an answer and somewhat somewhere with Sabrina's side of Sabrina's family and all that, and getting answers from Endora about why she's with Zig Zag and everything, or why she started hanging out with Zig Zag because Zig Zag was there for her. It's a great first step to maybe seeing a change happen. Maybe seeing this change and acceptance happen, because sometimes there's things about us as people that we don't think we're ever going to be, but eventually over time we accept it. I mean, I've gone on record, and you can find a video here on YouTube from back in the early to mid 2010s, where I said, look, I'm not a brony, but I respect the fandom, I respect what they're doing. But guess what? Over time, I slowly started to realize that I was. Because I started to get more into the show, more into the characters like Luna and Rarity. And over time, I slowly started to realize that, yeah, I had become a brony. I'd become part of the brony Pegasus community. End of discussion. So even though I wasn't willing to admit to it, back in the early 2010s when the show was starting out and the fandom was just taking off like gangbusters, over time I realized that, yeah, I am a fan. And I don't have a problem with it. I actually embraced it. I actually accepted it. And for Endora in this story, as strange as a comparison as it may be, I like the fact that she might be on the verge of accepting that maybe the kiss is a wake-up call for her to realize that maybe she might be a little bit more than just a straight very morale mother, wife, woman, if you will, that she might be a bit bi, and that she might have an attraction to Zig Zag, which is why she was willing to accept her comfort and friendship when she was there for her. Not just to have someone she could talk to and hang out with and discuss things with that she can't discuss with her husband or her daughter Tabitha or even Sabrina, but she could just talk woman to woman with. And so, and Zig Zag being there for her, obviously, was the start of that. And now I think she's starting to realize, at least from my point of view reading the story, she's starting to realize that maybe the reason she gravitated towards her, the reason she's getting along with her and everything, it's because maybe there's more to this, friendship than she wants to admit. There's more to it. And that maybe maybe there is something there that, she has to just accept. Now, if she doesn't want to go down that path, but does admit she is kind of attracted to Zig Zag because of the friendship she's offered her and it's made her that way towards her, that's fine. It doesn't have to be anything romantic. Just say, look, because of the friendship you gave to me and all of that, over time I've become attracted to you, and I'm not going to deny that anymore. I just don't want to get romantic or anything like that. I just want you to know. Maybe that's what happens. Maybe she lets Zig know, hey, I'm going to admit it right now that because you offered that friendship to me and everything, and we've hung out over time and talked things out, that I've slowly become attracted to you, but not in the romantic sense, but basically attracted to you because of your warmth and your friendship that you've given. It doesn't have to be romantic. It could be from a warmth and friendship kind of perspective, and that could be what we get. We don't know. I'm still standing by the fact that I think we're going to end the story with Endora surprising Zig Zag with a kiss on the lips herself, just to kind of get back at her for what she did. I could see that happen. I could see that happening. I could be wrong. Excuse me there. But anyway, I'm getting a little like symptom allergies in the cough. You could tell just by the way I'm talking. But anyway, though, I like what we're getting here with Endora. I like that. I like the fact that she's acknowledging that, yes, she loves her family. She does understand they're there for her, but it's not the same when it comes to talking about things that, would probably go over their heads, or she can't really talk about with them. And that she can only talk to people like, Zig Zag with. And I like the idea that she acknowledges the reason she accepted Zig Zag's friendship and comfort is because a lot of her friends have moved either far away or passed on. And she doesn't want to be left alone without a friend, and Zig Zag is that one friend. So I kind of like that analogy. I like the fact that, Zig Zag's a friend, is probably the only friend outside of a family that she can actually, get along with, hang out with, have fun with. But when that kiss happened, it's like something changed, all of a sudden. And yeah, she was shocked. And like I said earlier, she was shocked and surprised. But over time, she started to realize that, maybe it wasn't that bad at all. That maybe she liked it. And now that, again, as I mentioned earlier, that's what she's processing, those thoughts of, maybe me and Zig Zag our friendship might be more than what I think it is. But I gotta be certain. It's like I gotta make sure, if this is the direction I want to go in, to where as friends we might exchange little pecks on the lips here and there, or pecks on the cheeks here and there, and then that's it. And then maybe, because we don't know if this is going to go through her mind yet, maybe occasionally have a little rumpousness, if you know what I mean. Not saying that will happen, but still, I like what we're getting here. I like the fact that she's acknowledging the reason she's accepted Zig Zag's friendship is because of the fact that outside of her family, she doesn't have anyone else to really get along with and talk to and find comfort with. But now I think what's happening, as I mentioned earlier, she's probably starting to realize that maybe the friendship she has with Zig Zag gets become more than just a friendship. And that maybe there's a bit of an attraction there, because with her admitting, that, yeah, she was shocked at first by the kiss, that, she didn't really, that when she thinks about it, she didn't really hate it, and everything, and that she didn't, didn't really mind it. Excuse me there. I think we're starting to see maybe the evolution of the friendship into something just a bit more than just friends. Like the primary thing is going to be friendship, hanging out and all that. But on occasions we might get them, having a bit of a peck here and there and everything with each other, and that's it. But we'll see. We'll see what they do. But I do like the dynamic, and I like the fact that Sabrina kind of understands, where her mom's coming from. I like how she says, she gets it, even though she's not living it because she has a family of her own. But, but she gets it. She understands it. And yeah, Sabrina has friends too. she has friends. She has that porcupine girl. I can't think of her name right now. In one story that Eric's doing and coinciding with this one. Well, it doesn't coincide. It's its own separate thing. Like I said, Sabrina has friends like that porcupine girl named Holly, who's in a story right now that is flashing back to her and Doug's, her boyfriend, husband's first date and everything, and when they first met. It basically around her 21st birthday. So she has friends in Holly, she has a friend in Amy, so she has people she can hang out with and everything, but right now she's more focused on her family. Just like Amy the squirrel is more focused on her family, and Holly the same way. It's like, so that's why Sabrina, when at the end says she gets it, she's not living it, but she gets it because she understands where her mom's coming from when she says, hey, I need a friend outside of the family to talk with and confide in and hang out with and just let loose with. And Sabrina, she's like I said, she gets it because she has friends and everything. She has friends. She's just not, living what her mom wants to what her mom does at times with Zig Zag right now because of her family. But she does get it. She does understand it. And again, you can't in story blame Endora for wanting to wanting to accept Zig Zag's friendship and comfort and wanting to be around her and all that, because again, she can let loose, she can confide in her and talk with her about things she can't talk with her family about. And basically, her husband does his own thing unless he gets in the mood. And Tabitha, she's growing up, wanting to have her own life. So, it is a big change for her. It is a big change. And, for her wanting to find someone she can, hang out with and confide in, I think it's pretty good. I think it's a pretty good idea. But overall, I liked what we got here. I enjoyed it. And I cannot wait to see what happens next. I know that eventually we're going to get back to Zig Zag and Tina and what the next step is going to be there, whether she reunites with her mother and the family that is not particularly fond of her. We shall see. But I still stick by the fact that, I still stick by the fact that I believe we're going to have a comedic end to the story because, we're going to have an understanding between all parties. We're probably going to have Endora admit that she does find Zig Zag attractive because of her friendship and warmth that she's given her and everything. And that's why, she does find her attractive. And, she will probably admit that, that kiss you gave me, even though it was shocking and everything, I have to admit I did kind of like it. And I did kind of like it and embrace it and everything. And again, she can admit to Zig that, she does find her attractive because of the friendship and the warmth and friendship she has given her. And I wouldn't be surprised if she surprises Zig Zag with a kiss on the lips herself, and then that's how the story ends. Like, give Zig Zag a bit of a taste of her own medicine, like, you didn't see that coming, but we'll see what happens. And who knows what they'll do afterwards? Who knows what they'll do afterwards? I'm going by my facts and my thought process of, I think honestly, he might do a Fur After Dark comic, that ties in with the story, whether it's just focused on Tina and Zig Zag, or it's going to be something with Zig Zag and Endora, just to be like a one-time deal to get all this, feeling out and everything between them. I just got a feeling something's going to happen, but I could be wrong. I could be legitimately wrong, but we'll see. We'll see what occurs down the line. But overall, highly recommend you guys check it out if you haven't already. It's a great story, and I can't wait to see what the next part leads us into. But let me know what your thoughts are overall. Comment down below, like the video, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel, share the video. Also, guys, click on the links in the description to find my content elsewhere. You can find me at all your favorite audio and video podcast affiliates like iTunes, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Spotify, Audible from Amazon, Radio Public, Overcast, you name it. Wherever there's a podcast, you will find mine there. You can also find me at Vimeo, at BW Roses, Odyssey.com, at BW Roses-5. Rumble.com at BW Roses. You can find me at divanart.com, BVW1979. You can also find me at inkbunny.net at BW Roses. You can also find me at twitch.tv and kick.com. You can also find me at my Teespring store for merchandise you can't get anywhere else. Find me over at patreon.com at BW Roses. Also, support me at Venmo and Cash App. And guys, you can also find me at TikTok at BW Roses, Twitter, aka X.com at BW Roses, and at Blue Sky at BW Roses. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are on the story so far. What did you think about it, in this part anyway? What did you think about the parts in this chapter? And what do you think will be the next step? Let me know, and until then, I'm out.